Good evening and welcome to the Week in Review here on CNC3. I'm Kamal Georges, and a special welcome to all our viewers in North America watching us on the CIN network. Well, while Trinidad and Tobago was facing stormy conditions emanating from Tropical Storm Isaac out in the Caribbean Sea, a political storm was also brewing. This one between National Security Minister Jack Warner and Port of Spain Mayor Louis Leasing. At Thursday's post-cabinet news conference, Minister Warner accused the Port of Spain mayor of trying to set him up by meeting with gang members in Port of Spain.
National Security Minister Jack Warner says he received a request from the Mayor of Port of Spain, Louis Leasing, for a meeting at the Mayor's office on Wednesday, August 15th. He says he saw no reason not to attend, having not construed this as a meeting dictated by Balize House or the PNM, but simply as a meeting with the Mayor with whom he had met before on different issues. But then, he says, this transpired.
Upon entering the Mayor's office, I was surprised to see in the company of the Mayor the president of the PSA, Mr. Watson Duke, a member from his board, his association, and two unidentified individuals who I gathered from statements made later wished to leave behind them a life of crime.
He says they agreed to a follow-up meeting on Wednesday, August 22nd with a larger group of members from the Laventille community at the St. Paul Street complex. Minister Warner says he immediately met with the Acting Police Commissioner, Stephen Williams, Deputy Police Commissioner, Mervyn Richardson, and the Chief of Defence Staff, Brigadier Kenrick Mirage, and proposed that they instead meet with the other members, telling them that he saw the meeting at the Mayor's office as an entrapment.
Why was I called by the Mayor into the meeting of last Wednesday? Why was I called into his office? What is important should also be, why didn't he attend yesterday's meeting? Or was he hoping that I would have been stupid enough to have arrived there in the glare of the hidden cameras that were planted there from the media?
The follow-up meeting took place as planned at the St. Paul Street complex on Wednesday, August 22nd.
I did not attend. That meeting, I have since been advised, present there was the head of the PSA, Mr. Watson Duke. Also, you had another representative, I don't know his name, I wasn't given his name, with him, along with several members of the Laventille community, and there were 5 senior members of the police service. They all attended that meeting.
The minister is now questioning why anyone would go to such lengths to entrap him. He says he has taken a tough approach on crime and will continue to go after the big players in the business.
They can launder their money through casinos and sport bars with Nigerian workers who have no work permit, or they can hide behind building apartments and businesses on their wives' name, or they can even build big palaces and remove the mountain top, whether it's in Marvel or anywhere else. I repeat, they shall be caught.
He says the Financial Intelligence Unit has already listed 331 accounts that are of suspicious natures, and that money laundering is a crime that he will pursue relentlessly, adding,
I want to assure this country that they can run, but never will they be allowed to hide.
Well, the Port of Spain Mayor Louis Leasing called an emergency news conference immediately after the announcement to respond to the allegations made by Minister Warner. And Mayor Leasing says he is considering his legal options in this matter. He told reporters that there was no truth to the allegations made by the National Security Minister, as he expressed deep concern about the development.
What Minister Warner has done today is to convince me, as a citizen of this country, that all that has ever been said of him by way of trustworthiness or lack thereof must be taken seriously. And further, I put our nation on notice that we are dealing with a most dangerous situation.
Mayor Leasing explained that a young man shared with him some sensitive information about crime that he felt Minister Warner needed to know. He said he arranged a meeting where both men met and spoke, and it was agreed there that there was a need for another meeting which would take place at St. Paul Street. Mayor Leasing said it is a sad day for governance in this country when Minister Warner, a man with whom he thought he shared a close working relationship and believed was his friend, would make a statement so far from the truth.
I am appalled that Minister Warner could put such a spin on this matter. He is the Minister of National Security, and if it is in the best interest of the security of the country, people who are engaged in crime choose to speak to him and him only, then so be it. They didn't ask to speak to the mayor. And therefore, I am not about the business of setting up people. You either want to meet or you don't want to meet, but don't set up the meeting and then don't go to it, send somebody and then say that I am trying to set you up. Absolute nonsense.
Sticking with crime news, National Security Minister Jack Warner told the country this week that the crime situation, and in particular the homicide rate, is not as grim as the media is making it out to be.
With 7 persons killed over the weekend, the headline news on one daily newspaper, National Security Minister Jack Warner not only calls it sensational, but he's insisting that the homicide situation is not as bad as it's being made out to be.
It is no comfort really, whether it's 8 less or 10 as the case may be, but the fact I'm making to you is this is not as grim and as bad as it seems. And in fact, every effort is being done by the authorities so as to minimize the amount of murders taking place, especially in the hotspots. And I don't want to call any particular areas, because if I do that, to show where over a 2-month period there hasn't been a single murder, for example, some clunk might prove me wrong tonight.
Addressing the media 1 year after the declaration of a state of emergency, the minister read out statistics that showed the murder rate had declined by 8 persons over the corresponding period last year. January
to August 20th, 2011, the number of persons who were murdered, 272. And January to August 20th, 2012, the number of persons murdered is 264, including this massive big number of 7.
With such a big initiative as a state of emergency, we asked the minister whether he felt the commensurate reduction should have been bigger.
The state of emergency was not called because of murders, Samson. It was called because of a threat to national security. I wouldn't want to say much more than that. And if murders were decreased during that time, then thank God for all of us. But it was never called because of murders per se. It was called because of a threat to national security.
Laventille was also the scene of a violent uprising this week after the alleged police shooting of Nigel Caesar in John John.
Past the Picton tanks, a convoy of military and police officers, some on foot, in scenes reflective of an invasion. This was hostile territory Tuesday night, around 11 p.m, as any incursion here earlier was met by gunshots in the dark in retaliation to the shooting death of Nigel Caesar earlier in the day. Police had locked down the roadway from Besor Street to Picton Road around 7 last evening, as residents started taking action against commuters, blocking the road with debris and stoning vehicles. They would spend several hours here containing the protest inside the main community, where word was that the residents had lit several fires along the road, blocking the regular flow of transport. With things appearing to return to normal on the main road, a tractor driven by a military officer would arrive, and before long, officers positioned themselves to move into the community in their numbers. CNC3 was offered the opportunity to go into the hot zone with the military and police officers, the convoy snaking along Picton Road, where from time to time they'd stop, removing debris from place to place, some still smoldering. Residents had claimed that the police had killed Caesar in cold blood, and although his family had admitted that he was involved in some gang activity, they say he was unarmed at the time. Police, however, gave us a different version. Police Inspector Sahadi Hussain telling us that police officers on patrol had called out to the man to stop, but that he turned and shot at them, following which officers returned fire. They say Caesar ran a short distance and attempted to shoot at them again, and that the officers again returned fire, wounding him fatally as he was declared dead when he arrived at the Port of Spain General Hospital. It would take this entire police and military operation about 45 minutes to end, this one completely incident-free, by which time the residents' action had already subsided.
We take a short break, but when we come back, protests on the high seas and more flooding in Port of Spain and West Trinidad as Tropical Storm Isaac makes its way through the Caribbean. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Week in Review here on CNC3, and a special welcome to all our North American viewers. Hours of persistent rains on Wednesday night resulted in heavy flooding in the capital city and left hundreds of commuters stranded at Citygate. The rains also created anxiety in the minds of Diego Martin residents who are still trying to come to terms with the disaster which occurred in the area 2 weeks ago.
Almost ready to burst its banks. The East Dry River, mere inches away from spilling over onto Independence Square and South Key. It was a result of over 8 hours of constant rain. When CNC3 News visited the area shortly after 7 on Thursday morning, things were not looking good. Traffic heading into Port of Spain had already started to pile up. The side streets leading to South Key impassable, and all of South Key itself converted into a river. Some would try different means of getting through, but to no avail. It is here we found hundreds of commuters stranded with nothing to do but wait. Businesses were not spared, and so too the trees on the Brian Lara Promenade, which came crashing down. Over in the disaster area of Diego Martin, the situation was not so grim, but Councillor for Glencoe Goodwood La Perrota told CNC3 News anxiety was the order of the day for his burgesses.
I didn't sleep last night because these people have nothing left, and at any point in time I can't believe most of them how they actually slept last night, because everyone is in fear.
He said 64 houses in the La Perrota area are in danger of falling, and more rain gives no comfort. There were some reports of landslides on the Lady Young Road, but what we found was this structure almost ready to give away.
Meanwhile, many families in East Port of Spain awoke on Thursday morning to violent winds which tore the roofs of their homes.
It's like a single parent and somebody helping me out. You understand? The roof ain't gonna tall. All I cannot do this morning is get on my knees, face the east and talk to my God, because I know the roof was going to go.
The pain of a mother who lost the little she called her own. Wednesday nights, gusty winds and heavy rains inundated her home, destroying everything. She says she has no means of piecing her life back together.
I don't want no house, I don't want no land, I don't want nothing. All I want is assistance to fix the roof in the place.
East Port of Spain was battered during Wednesday evening's stormy conditions. It took with it the roofs of several homes in and around Laventille.
The galvanized blew off on top, and all the water just come downstairs. Damaged vinyl, branches soaked down, chairs soaked down.
The mother of 7 is unsure of where she and her children will spend the night. But a visit from the minister in the Ministry of the People and Social Development, Vanilla Aline Toppin, and other officials on Thursday came with a promise of immediate relief.
We will give all of the furniture and appliances that have been destroyed.
Ms. Toppin says mattresses will be provided by Thursday evening, and it will take another 2 or 3 days before appliances are ordered and delivered to some of these families. Switching gears now, almost 200 fishermen from Cedros and environs are counting down the days to when they can no longer afford to venture out to sea. The prime fishing waters off the deep southern coastline no longer hold the abundance of fish they once depended on, but they are putting the blame on Petrotrin and its offshore drilling activity. These waters once provided an abundance of marine life to support the livelihoods of Cedros fishermen and their neighboring villages. But the ocean no longer offers its resources with the generosity it once did. And fishermen are convinced this is why. They say an aggressive drilling program at Petrotrin's offshore Trinma operations has infringed on the limited space left for fishermen, and the industrial drilling has scared the fish far away from the reach of their nets. With the only means of feeding their families quickly being taken from their hands, this peaceful community reverted to their last remaining option, to send a message to Petrotrin. Almost 75 vessels with fishermen both young and old took their concerns to where it hits them hardest, in a massive protest out on the seas. Led by the Cedros Fisherfolk United, they surrounded what they say is a new well testing site that has been put down too close to shore.
What do you make 4 tight? And we work $4. And we had to come out at $1,000 to buy gas.
$500 in fish. 500 might sound plenty, but after you take out 300, 200 divided by 6, you all do the maths.
Where we go to make our dollar, we cannot go there anymore. We cannot go Venezuela on that area because the Venezuelan police run us down and hold us. And the place where we have to work now, Petrotrin is taking up the whole space.
So how have you been surviving?
Well, my wife working. She's the man right now, and she wear the pants and I wear the skirt right now. Because she's the breadwinner of the house right now. I can't get home $20 a day. That can't buy my family.
Fishermen here believe they should be compensated from state-owned Petrotrin. In communities like Mayaro, they say other energy companies compensate fishermen who are displaced by drilling and exploration activity. They believe they deserve the same. But as they try to stretch the little they catch, they say the price they charge will have to change. Cedrus fishermen supply fish to the entire country, from San Fernando to Port of Spain and Arima markets. These fishermen are asking for an urgent meeting with Petrotrin officials and the Minister of Energy to lay their concerns on the table. They say without the ocean, they're like fish out of water. We take a short break, but when we come back, a unique interview with the Prince of Port of Spain, Brian Charles Lara, ahead of the 2020 for 50 Independence Cricket Festival. Welcome back to the Week in Review here on CNC3, and a special welcome to all our North American viewers. As Muslims across the country celebrated the Eid al-Fitr holiday, hundreds of Muslims turned up at the Center of Excellence for Prayer. Sheikh Munaf Mohammed called on Muslims to keep family ties.
Tacoful, Trinidad and Tobago, as hundreds of Muslims, man, woman and child, came to the Center of Excellence in Mokoya to pray for Eid celebrations on Sunday. The prayers were punctuated by a brief afternoon shower, but this did not affect the prayer from continuing. Sheikh Munaf Mohammed called on Muslims in Trinidad and Tobago to strengthen family ties. He says this will help in the struggles currently being faced in the country.
Islam, my beloved brothers and sisters, has also taught about so many things about the family. Our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has told us, Ijtanibu al-mubiqat as-sab'a. Beware and distance yourself from the 7 great and deadly sins. Amongst them, breaking of family ties.
Sheikh Mohammed says that Muslims are people that must always be happy at this time.
We are Muslims in belief and with actions. We praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you are a Muslim, you are a happy person. You're bound to be happy. You will be happy today, and you will be happy tomorrow, and you will be happy in the end, Yawm al-Qiyamah.
All across the country on Sunday, Muslims came together for Eid celebrations in masjids. Sheikh Mohammed explained Ramadan is a month for Muslims to strengthen their faith.
Ramadan, my beloved brothers and sisters, is a great month. Today marks the culmination of the month of Ramadan. Islam, most definitely, my beloved brothers and sisters, is not only about Ramadan, but our whole life should be one of submission and surrender to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
For CNC3, I am Otto Carrington.
And before we leave, 2020 for 50, this weekend's Independence Cricket Extravaganza is quickly gaining momentum. Several of the international stars began arriving this week, but still, though, none may command the kind of attention bound to surround the Prince of Port of Spain himself, Brian Charles Lara. He granted our very own Jessie Marique a unique interview during a net session at the Queen's Park Oval.
It's quite rare that you get to see Brian Lara bat. So understand my excitement to see him practice in the nets on Wednesday. And even in this profession, it's even more of a rarity to be able to have a chat. So imagine my surprise as I was jostling for a better viewing angle when he signaled me to join him in the nets.
Worried, eh?
Of course I was worried. But he assured the ball only goes where he intends. Well, maybe not always.
Sorry.
Our chat, though, covered mostly this weekend's activity, his readiness.
Fine, a bit rusty, but think most importantly is to get back into the groove. I'm looking forward to the weekend. Should be fun.
His reservations?
For me, it's just about that all-out attacking form of the game. I haven't played much of it, but... Ooh.
And the prospect of facing young Kishon Walcott.
I look forward to that, definitely. I've spoken to him and he said he's going to bowl me out. I don't know how that's going to happen. But yeah.
Going a bit further, Lara feels that this is a great way to commemorate our 50th anniversary of independence.
We in the Caribbean very well known for cricket prowess, and first to use this occasion and have some international players coming out, actually getting me back on the cricket field. I think it's great.
And of course, he still has that competitive edge.
My team is playing to win. That's all I know. It's not going to be fun. I've got some good players. Fidel Edwards is back on my team. I'm not coming out for any joke this weekend. This weekend is pretty serious.
So if that wasn't enough to get you excited about this weekend, here's some more of Lara's next session. Reporting for CNC3 Sports, I am Jassi Marie.
That's a wrap on our look back at the week just ended. I'm Kamal Georges. As we go, we want to wish you all a very happy Independence next week.